Today, I'm going to tell you an incredible story that left a lasting mark on the history of psychology. Get ready, because you're about to witness the unbelievable life story of a child found in the wild that astonished the scientific world. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like my video and support me, I'll continue to bring you more fascinating stories like this in the future. Let's get started. We set our time machines to the year 1797 and head towards the village of Lacône in France. Imagine the strange event the villagers encountered one day in the depths of the forest. A small, wild child appears before them, covered in dirt, naked, and entirely untamed. The child neither speaks nor approaches people, seeming as though he belongs to the forest itself. The villagers are both amazed and a little frightened when they first see this child. After all, no one knows how he survived in the wild or how he ended up there. Upon closer inspection, the villagers realize that this small child exhibits completely wild behavior. He acts like an animal, showing no signs of communication with humans. Left alone in the heart of nature, this child must have a story, but the villagers find no clues about his past. The child stays in the village for a while, but the call of the wild within him is too strong, and as soon as he finds an opportunity, he escapes. From that moment on, people begin to wonder what became of him. However, this is not where the story ends. A year later, he is captured again by a few people in the same area. This time, the villagers take him home and care for him for a week. They feed him, bathe him, and clothe him. However, just like before, the child seizes the first opportunity to escape once more. It's as if the forest has become his true home. People are eager to learn where he came from and how he ended up in such a state, but the child gives no clues to his past. This is where the story takes an even more intriguing turn. After each escape, the child keeps reappearing in the village. Particularly when he's hungry, he comes to people's houses, takes some food, and then returns to the forest. He doesn't form any real bonds with people, but he also can't seem to completely sever his connection to them. This pattern continues for about 2 years. In 1800, on a freezing winter day, the child is captured once again. This time, the villagers decide not to let him return to the wild. From that moment on, the child is placed under their care, and soon he catches the attention of the scientific world. Even Napoleon's brother, Lucien Bonaparte, hears about this extraordinary case and orders for the child to be studied. The wild child is no longer just a mystery for the villagers, but a figure that the entire nation of France is curious about. Scientists begin examining the child and realize that he is just entering adolescence. Around 12 years old, they give him the name Victor. At this point, Victor's situation draws widespread attention. How could a child survive in the wild for so long? And most importantly, is it possible to reintegrate him into human society and teach him to live like other people? These questions catch the interest of one of the most prominent scientists of the time, Dr. Jean-Marc Gaspard Itard. Dr. Itard takes on the challenge of educating Victor with the goal of reintegrating him into society and helping him live like a human. However, this task proves to be anything but easy. Victor is unable to distinguish even the simplest things, like the difference between hot and cold. For instance, even when he repeatedly puts his hand in boiling water, he seems to feel no pain at all. The child appears to be fully adapted to the wild, making it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for him to return to the human world. Despite these challenges, Dr. Itard refuses to give up. A long and arduous process begins, as he is determined to help Victor overcome his wild instincts and integrate into society. After days, weeks, and months of effort, Victor begins to make small, yet significant progress. The first major breakthrough came when Victor finally understood the difference between hot and cold. For instance, he began to notice the temperature of the water during his baths, and, not wanting to stay wet, he started refusing to bathe. This seemingly small change was recognized as one of the earliest signs that Victor was beginning to develop human-like sensations. Another crucial moment in his education was when Victor displayed his first emotional reaction. For the first time during his lessons, he began to cry. This was a profound moment, signaling that Victor was starting to experience and express emotions. a key step on his path toward understanding what it means to be human. Imagine, a child who had been alone in the forest for years, disconnected from humans, is expressing emotions for the first time. This moment is seen as a significant step forward by Dr. Itard and other scientists. Victor is beginning to transform emotionally into a human. Itard continues the education he applied to Victor for years. He tries to teach him reading, writing, and speaking. However, the progress made in this area remains quite limited. Victor can distinguish only a few words but never fully learns to speak properly. He repeats a few words whose meaning he doesn't completely grasp, but his ability to speak never develops. Victor's story brings to light a significant theory about language development. Scientists begin discussing the idea of a critical period for language learning. In other words, after a certain age, if a person has never been exposed to language, it becomes impossible for them to learn it. Could this be exactly what happened to Victor? Numerous studies are launched around this theory in the scientific world. Even today, the critical period theory remains relevant in language learning. This means that language acquisition can only fully occur during childhood. Victor is considered one of the most concrete examples of this theory. One of the most fascinating developments in Victor's journey toward becoming more human is his ability to develop empathy. In the later stages of his education, his caretaker Guerin's husband passes away. At the time, Guerin is deeply saddened. Normally, Victor would set the same number of plates at the table every evening, but upon seeing Guerin cry, he does not set an extra plate that day. This shows that Victor has developed a sense of empathy. He begins to notice the emotional states of those around him and adjusts his behavior accordingly. At this point, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. With your support, I can continue sharing fascinating stories like this. After a total of 6 years of education, Dr. Itard gives up. Victor never fully adapts to society. He cannot learn to speak, nor can he fully develop his social skills. However, this does not change the legacy he leaves behind in the world of psychology. Victor goes down in history as an example that shows the education of children with mental disabilities can be possible. Victor lived a quiet life until the age of 40. In 1828, he passed away, leaving behind countless questions for the scientific world and humanity itself. His story not only inspired discussions about mental disability and language development, but also sparked deep questions about what it truly means to be human. Thank you for listening to this fascinating story. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. With your support, I can continue sharing such intriguing and thought-provoking stories. See you in the next video.